Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a continuation of the Send It Sunday series where I answer your DMs from Instagram. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, I am pretty active on there. I pretty much always am posting to my stories, so feel free to follow me on Instagram at brittanylynnlewis. And that is also where you guys can DM me your questions. This is the third Send It Sunday video that I'm doing for you guys, and next week is going to be the last one. So this turned out to be a month-long series, and there will be 4 total Send It Sunday videos on my channel. I will still be answering your DMs on my Instagram, just not necessarily in a YouTube video. So the first question is from Christina Nicole. It says, I know in your previous video, you said that at first your parents were not on board with you joining the military. How did you deal with that and the negativity that comes with it? I do feel like I answered a lot of this question in the Q&A video that I did with my mom, so I'm going to link it in the description box. But I do think a lot of the negativity and judgment or criticism comes from parents because they fear the unknown and they're kind of insecure about the whole process and the whole journey because maybe they're not sure what you're going to go through and they're not familiar with the process or anything like that. Like maybe they just have a lot of questions. I know that my parents felt so much better after speaking with recruiters and us doing research together. Like if your parents or someone in your life, such as like a significant other, if they're not totally on board with this, it might just be because they haven't learned enough about it, and also they care about you, they love you, they don't want to see you go through anything hard or life-changing or something that may totally change you as a person. So I think it just comes from like the fear of unknown, and I think that the more research that you both do together and the more questions you can get answered and the further you get into the journey, they're going to be more and more comfortable with it, and they're also not going to be able to help but be proud of you, excited for you. I promise they're going to come around. I promise that they're not always going to be so negative or critical of your decision. So just stand strong in your decision. If this is something that you really want for yourself and you're gonna go for it, just help them become more educated about it, and I think they will feel better in the end. The next question is from Ashley. It says, if you had asthma past the age of 13 but don't have it anymore, can you still join the Air Force? So I am not a recruiter, and I've never had asthma myself. I'm not qualified to speak on this. So this is definitely a question for a recruiter or someone who is medically qualified to talk about asthma, and that is not me. So I try to answer as many of your questions as possible, but really I'm only speaking from personal experience, so I cannot help you with these types of questions. So definitely reach out to a recruiter about medical questions and things like that. Okay, the next message is a 3-part question. So the first one says, can more than one person get the Thunderbolt Award? I definitely did not get a PT award, but I believe that anyone who meets those requirements does get the award. So yeah, if anyone has experience with that, you can let us know in the comments. But the second part of the question says, at BMT, do they give you enough time to let your food settle after breakfast, lunch, dinner, before going to do PT? So when I went through BMT, we were on the winter schedule for PT, so we did PT after lunch, but it was like 3 to 4 hours after lunch. So we did have plenty of time for our food to digest before exercising. Lunch was never later than like 1300, and that was not very often. And then our PT sessions were usually around like 1630 or 1600. And then usually we would go upstairs, shower and change and all of that, and then pretty much go straight to chow, like for dinner. The third part of the question says, do you think the military helps shape you into a more headstrong person? I'm not really sure how to word the last question, but basically, if you struggle with attitude sometimes, do you think the military will help me with that? I do think they will help you with that because there's really no room for it in the military. You're pretty much forced to respect your leaders as far as like MTIs and BMT, and I mean, if you're not going to respect your leaders and the members of your flight and the members of your squadron, then you're really not going to get far in the military. So I do think that the military does help you as far as that is concerned. The next message is from Michelle. It says, I have a question regarding tattoos. Is there a maximum size they can be before joining? I'm so confused. So no, there's no maximum size for tattoos. It's really more about placement and what exactly the tattoo is. They can't be anything offensive. So the AFI goes into more detail about that, and you can ask your recruiter if you guys have any more questions about what the tattoo can actually be of. The second part of Michelle's question says, when having to further explain anything you answer yes to on medical forms, such as if you've ever been pregnant, etc., are the medical records that you request online good enough? Or is there like a specific certification I need to get? So basically anything that you answer yes to, make sure that your recruiter is aware of this. And make sure that before going to MEPS, you already have all the documents that you're capable of getting for whatever you answered yes to. I'd make sure that if it's paperwork from a doctor or a hospital or whatever the case may be, yes, make sure that whatever paperwork or documentation you have on that, just bring it with you, be prepared, or they may send you home and expect you to come back with that paperwork. So just bring everything you have. Okay, so the next DM is from Kayla. It says, can you go into detail on time off with the Air Force and how it accrues? So every month you do earn 2.5 days of leave, and so it comes out to about 30 days of paid leave every year. And I don't know what else to really say about that, but if you guys have other specific questions regarding leave, just let me know in the comments. Okay, so for the last question I will answer this week, it's from Jake. It says, what was the biggest shock factor moment when you got to BMT? So the biggest shock factor moment for me was when I was standing by my wall locker and they handed us the script to make our first phone call, which was the next day. So it was like our second day there. And they hand you the script and I was like standing there ready to call my house. I didn't know if my mom or my dad would answer or even my little brother. But my dad answered and I started to read him the script, and they're yelling at you and you're pressured to get off the phone, but I really wanted to make sure that my dad had my correct address so that they could write to me, because obviously like you're gonna miss your family and mail is like what you really look forward to. So I knew that it was like very important for them to know that I made it there, that I was safe, that I was okay. I really wanted to make sure that they got my address written down correctly, but the address is kind of long, it's kind of confusing, and you're already like being yelled at and your thoughts are like jumbled and you're stressed and you're like, oh my God. So I was reading my dad the script. He was not able to like understand me or write down the address correctly. Like he kept asking me to repeat things and like reading it back incorrectly to me, and I was getting stressed and I was like, I'm gonna have to hang up this phone and he is not going to have this address written down correctly. So we got through it. He got it written down correctly, but towards the end of our phone call, I started to have that moment where you like tear up and your voice starts to crack and break a little bit. And like he could hear that and I was like, oh my God, he's not gonna think that I'm okay, but I really am okay. I'm just like stressed in this moment. Oh my God, my eyes are literally watering thinking about it because it was such a stressful moment, and it was like that moment of realization. I was like, this is it. Like I'm about to turn my phone in. I'm done communicating with them for a while, and yeah, that was definitely my biggest shock factor because everyone like hung up their phones and like everyone was crying, everyone was stressed, and I think that's the moment where it all hit me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy these videos, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.